Welcome to Sri Chakradhar Education. This is your complete guide to the IGNOU PGDDRRM Project for MPAP-031. Everything here is built from the official MPAP-031 Project Handbook and the IGNOU program structure, not from guesswork floating around online. Let us answer the main question first. MPAP-031 is the 2-credit project work of the IGNOU PGDDRRM program, the Post Graduate Diploma in Disaster Risk Reduction and Management. It sits in the second semester. You choose a real disaster risk problem, prepare a supervised dissertation of around 12,000 words, and submit it for evaluation. It is small-scale research. You are not expected to make an original contribution to the field. You are expected to show that you can identify a problem, gather data, analyze it, and present clear findings. That is the whole test. Here is MPAP-031 at a glance. The project code is MPAP-031. Credits: 2. Length: around 12,000 words. Pass mark: 40%, and one detail that surprises most students. This project belongs to the School of Social Sciences under the Faculty of Public Administration, and the whole program was launched only in July 2024. In this IGNOU PGDDRRM project guide, we will cover 3 things. First, the PGDDRRM program and exactly where MPAP-031 sits inside it. Second, the course code traps that get proposals rejected before they are even read. And third, the full cycle: topic, proposal, supervisor, writing, submission, and result. Everything is anchored to the official handbook. The handbook is refreshingly specific about what your research should actually do. 4 things. Identify the causes of a selected type of disaster in your area. Assess how that disaster affects people, the environment, and the local economy. Analyze the role of governmental and non-governmental organizations and the emergency management systems. And finally, suggest practical measures to reduce the disaster and mitigate its impact. Keep those 4 verbs in front of you, and your dissertation almost structures itself. First, the program itself. PGDDRRM is a 1-year, 40-credit postgraduate diploma in disaster risk reduction and management, delivered in open and distance learning mode by the School of Social Sciences. It was designed under the National Education Policy of 2020, and it carries a compulsory practical component. MPAP-031 is that component. The facts you should know. Eligibility is a graduate degree in any discipline. The program fee is about 7,700 rupees for the full program, though exam fees are charged separately, so always confirm the current figure on the IGNOU website. Minimum duration 1 year, maximum 3. Medium, English or Hindi. And admission opens twice a year, in the July and January cycles. Now, why this matters. PGDDRRM replaced the older postgraduate diploma in disaster management in July 2024 because the old material no longer reflected modern disaster management. And because the program is so new, much of the MPAP-031 advice you will find online is simply copied from other IGNOU projects, and it is wrong. That is why this guide stays anchored to the official handbook. So where does MPAP-031 sit? The program has 10 theory papers coded MPA-031 through MPA-040, Physical Geography, Ecology and Environment. Introduction to Disaster Management, Disaster Vulnerability and Risk Assessment, Research Methodology and Ethics, Geoinformatics in Disaster Management, Occupational Health and Safety Management, Pandemic Preparedness and Response, Health Emergencies and Disaster Management, and Reconstruction, Rehabilitation and Recovery. Here is the arithmetic. 9 of those theory papers carry 4 credits each, and MPA-035, Research Methodology and Ethics, carries 2. That is 38 theory credits. Add the 2-credit MPAP-031 project, and you reach exactly 40. So the project is small in credits, but it is the one component you cannot skip. Now the first myth bust, and this one genuinely costs students a cycle. MPA-031 and MPAP-031 look almost identical, but they are not the same. MPA-031 is a theory paper, physical geography, 4 credits. MPAP-031 is the project, 2 credits. The extra letter P stands for project. Write the wrong code on your proposal or your exam form, and your work lands on the wrong desk. Myth bust 2. Students assume a disaster diploma must run from some environment or extension school. It does not. PGDDRRM runs under the Faculty of Public Administration in the School of Social Sciences. That is why the codes are MPA and MPAP-031. And it is why your supervisor pool includes public administration and political science scholars, not just disaster specialists. Keep that in mind when you look for a guide. Myth bust 3. And this is the biggest one. Almost every third-party page calls MPAP-031 mandatory with no exemption. The official handbook says something different. The project report is compulsory only for those learners who have not opted for an internship. So PGDDRRM gives you a choice: an internship placement or this dissertation. If you have chosen the internship, MPAP-031 as a written project may not apply to you. Confirm your route before you start. The whole MPAP-031 journey has a simple shape. 1. Choose a feasible topic and pin down your research question. 2. Write the proposal and get it approved by the faculty. 3. Do the fieldwork, then write and format the dissertation. And 4. Submit the spiral-bound report and wait for evaluation and result. We will now walk through each stage. Stage 1. The topic. The handbook is clear. Pick a topic that excites you, but one you can actually finish. Before you lock it, test 4 things. Is the data genuinely accessible? Do you have the time? Can you reach the field site? And does it sit inside the PGDDRRM course framework? A narrow local question will always beat a grand unmanageable one. You are free to pick any theme, but the faculty lists priority research areas, and choosing from inside them makes approval smoother. Disaster governance, ecology and environment, climate change, environmental policies, participatory risk assessment, risk analysis techniques, vulnerability assessment, resource mobilization, the role of ICT in disaster risk reduction, building rural and urban infrastructure for disaster risk reduction, and logistics management. To make everything concrete, let us carry one example through the whole guide. Our running topic is Assessing Household Flood Preparedness in the Riverine Villages of Barpeta District, Assam. It is a field study, a survey of around 150 households, and it sits squarely under vulnerability assessment. It is narrow, local, and the data is reachable. Watch it move through proposal, chapters, and submission. Stage 2. The proposal. And this is a hard gate. Before any fieldwork, you submit a dissertation proposal. The faculty evaluates it, returns it with comments, and you must score at least 40%. And incorporate every suggestion before you begin the real work. For the general craft of writing a synopsis, see our IGNOU synopsis video. Here we focus on what MPAP-031 specifically demands. So what goes into the proposal? A title and a clear research question, a focused survey of the literature, a plan of research and the methods you will use. The design, whether a case study or a conceptual study, an outline of your chapters, at least 4 of them, and a preliminary bibliography in the prescribed format. For our Barpeda example, the question is simple. How prepared are riverine households for the annual floods, and what shapes that preparedness? The handbook says most dissertations fall into 2 types, and it helps to decide early. A case study or fieldwork study draws primary data from a place or community using surveys, interviews, and observation. Our Barpeda flood study is exactly this. A conceptual or desk work study brings theoretical analysis to a policy or issue, using documents and secondary data. Pick the one your question and your time actually allow. The handbook also names the 2 families of method you will draw on, and it is worth knowing the vocabulary. Library research means analyzing historical records and documents, using content analysis and reference guides. It is desk work on secondary sources. Field research means going to the community, direct observation, participant and non-participant, plus interviews, surveys, and structured schedules. Our Barpeda study is field research. The household survey is the primary data, and the district flood records are the library side that frames it. 2 rules save cycles here. First, your academic supervisor must sign the certificate of approval on the cover page of the proposal before you mail it to the program coordinator in New Delhi. Second, and this catches people, once the faculty approves your proposal, the topic is locked. Even the wording cannot change afterwards. So choose your title carefully the first time because you will live with it. Stage 3. The supervisor. The good news is that the pool is wider than students expect, so you rarely need to hunt far. Any academic counselor of the MPA-031 to MPA-040 courses at your study center is already recognized. So are members of the public administration faculty at headquarters. And beyond them, any assistant professor, associate professor, or professor holding a doctorate in disaster management, public administration, political science, geography, geology, or health sciences can supervise you. So a geography professor at a nearby college or a public administration scholar you already know may well qualify. You do not need a rare disaster management specialist. One more supervisor rule. If you bring in a guide of your own choice from another university or college, you must send their brief biodata along with your proposal to the program coordinator in New Delhi for approval. Remember, their signature is only a consent to guide you. Approval is a separate decision taken at headquarters. Skip that step, and your whole submission can stall. For guide duties across all IGNOU programs, see our project guide and supervisor video. Stage 4. Writing. Start with length. The dissertation should run to around 12,000 words. The handbook cites roughly 10 to 12,000, excluding the title page, acknowledgements and references. And note this carefully. IGNOU counts words, not pages. Ignore any 150-page target you see online. Depth and clarity earn the marks, not padding. The format rules are specific, and this next one is a real myth bust. Use A4 paper and Times New Roman. Margins of 1 inch all around. Page numbers at the bottom center. And here is the surprise. The handbook asks for single-line spacing, 1-line spacing, printed on one side of the paper. Many templates online say double-spaced. For MPAP-031, follow the handbook and keep it single-line. Assemble the dissertation in a fixed order. First the cover page, then a title page carrying the statement that the work is submitted in partial fulfillment of the PGDDRRM. Then the supervisor's certificate, the table of contents and acknowledgements. Then the main text, 4 or more chapters, followed by the references and any appendices. Each major heading starts on a fresh page. And one rule almost everyone forgets. The dissertation proposal that the faculty approved must be appended at the very end of your report before submission. So keep that stamped, evaluated proposal in safe custody from the day you get it back. Lose it, and you cannot submit a complete dissertation. For universal report formatting that applies across programs, our IGNOU project format video goes deeper. Let us map the chapters onto our BAPITA flood study. Chapter 1, Introduction and Objectives. Chapter 2, the literature and the flood context of BAPITA district. Chapter 3, methodology and the household survey design. Chapter 4, the findings on how prepared households actually are. And a closing chapter with conclusions and practical mitigation suggestions. The questionnaire goes into an appendix, and the references follow the prescribed format. A quick word on references because examiners notice. Every source you used belongs in the bibliographic references in the format the handbook prescribes. Uncited borrowing reads as plagiarism, and that is the fastest way to have a dissertation returned. So keep a running reference list from your very first reading rather than reconstructing it in a panic at the end. For a full referencing walkthrough that applies across programs, our IGNOU project format video covers it in detail. Stage 5. Submission. As per the handbook, a spiral-bound copy of the dissertation goes to the Registrar, Student Evaluation Division, Block 12, at IGNOU, Maidan Garhi, New Delhi 10068, submitted at least 1 month before the term-end examination. Extensions are granted only in exceptional circumstances and only on an application made in advance to the program coordinator. One honest caution on submission. The official handbook describes a spiral-bound hard copy sent to the Student Evaluation Division, but IGNOU has been steadily moving project submissions onto an online portal, and some regional centers now ask for an online upload instead of, or in addition to, a hard copy. So before you bind and post anything, confirm the current route with your own regional center. Do not assume. How is it graded? Evaluation looks at your approved proposal and your final dissertation, and you need a minimum of 40% to pass. Some third-party pages quote a 100-mark scheme. The handbook is explicit only about the 40% pass bar, so treat any exact mark split as something to confirm. If the report comes back for changes, do not panic. You revise the flagged points and resubmit in the next window. That is a delay, not a failure, and results are declared with the relevant examination cycle. So the earlier you submit cleanly, the sooner your result appears. What about a Viva? The project handbook centers on evaluating the written report, and it does not prescribe a compulsory Viva-Voce for MPAP-031. That said, some regional centers do schedule a short interaction, so treat a Viva as possible, not certain, and confirm with your regional center. If one is held, there is nothing to fear. You did the study, so simply be ready to explain your own data and findings in plain words. So, is it worth the effort? Yes, and for a very practical reason. Disaster risk reduction is a field where a small, honest field study reads like real professional work. Your MPAP-031 dissertation is the concrete thing you can put in front of an interviewer at the NDMA, a State Disaster Management Authority, or an NGO. A real problem, your own data, and workable recommendations. It is the part of the diploma that proves you can actually do the job. Where does the PGDDRRM commonly lead? Roles at the NDMA and the National Institute of Disaster Management. State and district disaster authorities, non-governmental organizations in disaster and relief work. International bodies such as the United Nations agencies and the Red Cross. Academia and policy think tanks. And corporate risk and safety teams. The diploma opens the door, and your project is what you talk about once you are inside the room. Before we recap, the mistakes that cost students a full cycle. 1. writing MPA-031 on your form instead of MPAP-031. 2. Starting fieldwork before the proposal is approved. And 3. Changing the topic wording after approval, or losing that approved proposal you were supposed to append. Avoid these 3 and you are ahead of most of your batch. Now the question students ask most with direct answers: is MPAP-031 compulsory? It is compulsory for PGDDRRM learners who did not opt for an internship, so confirm your route first. How many credits is it? 2 credits in the second semester. How long should the report be? Around 10 to 12,000 words, excluding references and annexes. Words, not pages. Do I need approval before writing? Yes. The proposal must be approved and score at least 40% before any fieldwork begins. Who can be my supervisor? Your MPA-031 to MPA-040 course counselor, the public administration faculty, or any doctorate holder in a listed discipline like geography or public administration. And where do I submit? Per the handbook, to the Student Evaluation Division, Block 12, New Delhi, but confirm any online route with your regional center. Let us recap in one screen. The code is MPAP-031, 2 credits, second semester. It is an internship or a project, so check your route. Approve the proposal before you write. Follow single-line A4 formatting, and append that approved proposal at the end. Get those right, and MPAP-031 is one of the smoother projects in IGNOU. If you want to go deeper on any single stage, this channel has focused guides. Our IGNOU Synopsis video for proposal writing craft. Our IGNOU project format video for the universal report format. Our project guide and supervisor video for guide rules. And our project submission video for routes and deadlines. Each one cross-links back here so you always know where MPAP-031 fits. So here's your next step. Confirm your route, pick a narrow, local topic, and get the proposal approved before you do anything else. For personalized help on your MPAP-031 project or synopsis, message the team on WhatsApp. The number is in the description. And if this guide made MPAP-031 clearer, subscribe to Sri Chakradhar Education for more official source IGNOU walkthroughs. This is BK Sahni at IGNOUproject.com. All the best with your project,